We often underestimate just how powerful the human mind can be. People dedicate their entire lives going through years of college and studying psychology just to try to understand the intricate workings of our gray matter. And you know what's crazy? Sometimes things we uncover in exploration of the mind can be downright horrifying. We might unearth repressed memories or confront our deepest, darkest thoughts, the kind of stuff that will leave you just with a guilty conscience, questioning the very nature of your existence. It's a twisted, unsettling journey, my friend, but one that can lead us to some truly groundbreaking revelations. Last time we delved into the nightmarish visions of Team Silent, the twisted geniuses behind Silent Hill. We witnessed how they harnessed the power of music and atmosphere to transcend mere entertainment, weaving off an immersive tapestry of terror that lingered long after the console was turned off. But now, we ushered in a new millennium. Konami was about to unveil a masterpiece unlike any other, a sequel that wasn't content with merely transcending in the footsteps of its predecessor, but one that would redefine the very essence of horror gaming itself. This was the magnum opus, forged from the depths of despair, a work of art destined to etch its name in the annals of gaming history, a true terror force that would push the boundaries of what we thought was possible in the realm of psychological horror. Welcome back to the Retro Phantoms Retrospective. Today we're stepping back into the world of psychological horror with Silent Hill 2.
Around the rosy, a pocket full of roses, ashes. Ashes, we all fall down.
You! It was you, wasn't it?
I'm here for you, James.
Are you blind or something?
See? I'm real.
If you're just discovering this channel, you're in for a treat. We got a growing catalog of captivating retrospectives that peel back the layers of gaming's most fascinating and influential titles. From unsung gems to celebrated classics, our deep dives offer fresh perspectives that'll ignite your passion for the art form. If you enjoy an engaging retrospective that blends insightful analysis with reverence for its subject matter, mash the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss out on upcoming exploration to the brilliant minds and landmark experiences that have shaped this incredible medium. Let's dive into this. Silent Hill 2 had a tireless development journey, with key members of the original Silent Hill team departing Konami after the game's success. Kichiro Toyama, the director of Silent Hill, left the company shortly after its release in 1999. This left a void in the creative leadership for the sequel. The directorial reins were initially taken up by Akira Imamura, but the rigorous workload led him to step down to a producer role. Masashi Tsuboyama, the background designer from the first game, then took over as director for Silent Hill 2. Now, here's where things get a little interesting. Silent Hill came out at the end of the original PlayStation's lifespan. Just 6 days after its release, Sony announced the PlayStation 2. Team Silent found themselves in a unique position. They had to develop a sequel, Silent Hill 2, primarily for the brand new console. Development kicked off in June of 1999, just 4 months after the game's launch. The team was massive, with 10 programmers, 5 character designers, and 20 background artists. According to the developers, programming for the PS2 was a challenge, but its power allowed them to push the graphics and special effects to new heights. The team faced challenges in programming for the PS2 architecture, but its power allowed them to push the graphics and incorporate intricate visual effects. Konami also introduced S-Force, a technology supplied by Sony that aimed to create a more immersive audio experience, with sound seeming to come from all directions. The narrative of Silent Hill 2 drew inspiration from Fyodor Dostoevsky's 1860s novel Crime and Punishment, exploring themes of psychological punishment and the effects of the human psyche. While set in the same town as the first game, the story was intended to be a standalone experience rather than a direct continuation. The main writing was handled by Hiroyuki Okawa and Takayoshi Sato, with Sato providing the dialogue for female characters. Sato estimated the average budget for video game production at the time to be around $7 to $10 million. To capture an authentic portrayal of American characters and settings, CGI director Sato spent nearly a year in San Francisco, observing how people move and how they carry themselves. As Sato explained, "On the street, I see how they walk, how they move, or whatever. Before I went to the States, I didn't really know, for example, the bone structure of a typical American face. Now that I'm here, the experiences of my everyday life is adding to how I express American characters in the game." Sound also played a crucial role in creating an immersive and unsettling atmosphere. Composer Akira Yamaoka aims to invoke emotions through music, with the main theme taking just 3 days to write. The game featured over 50 sound effects, ranging from screams to footsteps on broken glass, carefully placed to surprise and unsettle the player. Yamaoka also incorporates strategic moments of silence, commenting that selecting moments of silence is yet another way of producing sound. All the team's hard work culminated at the Tokyo Game Show in March 2001, where they showcased a playable teaser of Silent Hill 2. Despite some technical issues, the teaser received positive feedback. According to PlayStation Magazine, Konami's Silent Hill 2 was arguably the best game shown at the Tokyo Game Show.
Du marché japonais. On retrouve sur un écran géant un nouveau trailer de Metal Gear Solid 2 qui malheureusement ne nous apprend rien de plus par rapport à la démo jouable disponible avec Zone of the Enders. En revanche, on pouvait trouver des bornes avec une version jouable de Silent Hill 2. Voilà qui est bien prometteur. Malgré le vacarme environnant, le jeu était déjà suffisamment abouti pour donner des frissons d'horreur à ceux qui ont osé prendre la manette. La version PS2 est à peu près du même niveau graphique que celle de la Xbox, mais surtout, le jeu semble bien plus avancé. Voici l'occasion d'en savoir un peu plus.
See? I'm real.
Le premier épisode était sorti sur PlayStation. Évidemment, sur PlayStation 2, le rendu est beaucoup plus beau. Mais il n'y a pas que ça. Le système de jeu également a subi de nombreuses améliorations. Ce ne sera pas la suite du premier. Si vous vous souvenez, à la fin de Silent Hill, l'histoire était terminée. Par contre, le jeu reprend quelques personnages et surtout la ville de Silent Hill pour une histoire totalement différente. Même si le jeu sera assez violent, il n'y aura pas d'interdiction aux plus jeunes. Il y aura tout de même un avertissement sur la jaquette, mais c'est tout.
Bon, on n'en saura donc pas plus pour l'instant. Konami n'a toujours pas fixé de date de sortie, même s'ils ont promis que ce sera avant fin 2001. Alors fais attention, Ed.
Eddie, be careful.
With everything going according to plan and anticipation building for another dose of psychological horror, the stage was set for success. As the 3-year development period neared its end, Team Silent was ready to unveil their masterpiece to the world. On September 25th, 2001, Silent Hill 2 was released.
James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
All I want from you is an answer.
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real.
Here's a quick spoiler alert as I'm about to tell the story of Silent Hill 2 along with light spoilers from Silent Hill. Now, if you're not a fan of spoilers, I encourage you to advance the video to the gameplay overview section as seen on the timeline below. Let's dive into this. Okay, so our protagonist James Sutherland receives a mysterious letter from his wife Mary, beckoning him to the special place in the town of Silent Hill, Maine. Now here's a kicker. Mary passed away 3 years prior due to a terminal illness. So you can imagine James' confusion when this letter shows up, written in Mary's handwriting, mentioning details only she would know. Like the fact that James had once promised to take her back to Silent Hill, a place that held special meaning for them as a couple, but never got a chance to fulfill that promise before her untimely death.
In my restless dreams, I see that town, Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did. Well, I'm alone there now, in our special place, waiting for you.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said, Mary. My wife's name. It's ridiculous. Couldn't possibly be true. That's what I keep telling myself. A dead person can't write a letter. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. So then, why am I looking for her? Our special place. What could she mean? This whole town was our special place. Does she mean the park on the lake? We spent the whole day there. Just the two of us, staring at the water. Could Mary really be there? Is she really alive? Waiting for me?
So James leaves the observation deck overlooking Silent Hill and heads to the town itself. As he's wandering through the graveyard, he comes across Angela Orcoso. This nervous, jittery young woman who's also come to Silent Hill but for a different reason. Angela's looking for her missing mother, and let me tell you, she does not mince words about the bad vibes this place is giving off. She straight up warns James, hey man, there's something seriously wrong with this town. It could be dangerous. But James, he's a man on a mission. Despite Angela's ominous warning, he brushes it off and almost defiantly says he doesn't care if it's dangerous. His mind is made up. He's going to find his missing someone too, no matter what.
Excuse me,
I'm sorry. I
No,
was
it's
just...
okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost.
Lost?
Yeah. I'm looking for Silent Hill. Is this the right way?
Yeah. It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Thanks.
But
Yes?
I think you'd better stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it. It's kind of hard to explain, but...
Is it dangerous?
Maybe. And it's not just the fog, either.
Okay, I got it. I'll be careful.
I'm not lying.
No, I believe you. It's just... I guess I really don't care if it's dangerous or not. I'm going to town either way.
But why?
I'm looking for someone.
Who is it?
Someone very important to me. I'd do anything if I could be with her again.
Me too. I'm looking for my mama. I mean my mother. It's been so long since I've seen her. I thought my father and brother were here, but I can't find them either. I'm sorry. It's not your problem.
I hope you find them.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, so James finally arrives in Silent Hill itself, but it's definitely not the quaint, beautiful town he remembers a few years back. No, sir. For starters, this place is all kinds of messed up. There's this thick, bizarre fog blanketing everything and making it hard to see more than a few feet in front of you. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The whole town looks like it's literally rotting away. Buildings crumbling, streets cracked and abandoned, and there's even those things roaming around. These vaguely humanoid, grotesque creatures that immediately start trying to mess with James the second they spot him. I'm talking straight up attack mode. So James is already getting a sense that something is seriously off in Silent Hill, but he presses on, determined to reach Rosewater Park by the lake, since he thinks it could be the special place Mary mentioned. Except this path is blocked, so he has to reroute through an apartment complex. And get this, while inside, he has a straight up weird encounter with this little girl. She just randomly steps on his hand as he's checking the place out, then runs off without a word.
Ow!
Ha.
Hey, wait! Damn it.
Just when you think Silent Hill can't get any weirder, James comes face to face with one of the most iconic and disturbing enemies, Pyramid Head. This towering humanoid monster is rocking a giant metal pyramid helmet that completely obscures its face. Definitely not something you want to run into in a dark alley. But the freak encounters keep on coming. James meets a guy named Eddie who's straight up puking his guts out in an apartment toilet. When James notices a corpse just chilling in the fridge, Eddie gets all defensive about it. Yeah, because that's a totally normal reaction. Then in another apartment building, James finds Angela again, except this time she's lying in front of a huge mirror holding a knife to herself. She's literally contemplating taking her own life right there. James has to talk her down and get the knife away from her for her own safety. After that scare, Angela bolts in a panic to keep searching for her missing mom.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, I'm James.
Angela.
Angela, okay. I don't know what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really? But you're the same as me. It's easier just to run. Besides, it's what we deserve.
No, I'm not like you.
Are you afraid? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Did you find your mother?
Not yet. She's not anywhere.
Did she live in this apartment building?
I don't know.
So, All you know is she lived in this town.
What did you say? How do you know that?
Well, I just figured, 'cause this is where you're looking for her. How else would I know?
Yeah,
Am I right?
I'm so tired.
So, why did you come to this town anyway?
I'm sorry. Did you find the person you're looking for?
Not yet. Her name's Mary. She's my wife.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, she's dead. I don't know why I think she's here.
She's dead?
Don't worry. I'm not crazy. At least, I don't think so.
I've got to find my mama.
Should I go with you? This town's dangerous. Now I know what you meant back there in the cemetery.
I'll be okay by myself. Besides, I'd just slow you down.
What about that?
Will you hold it for me?
Sure. No problem.
If I kept it, I'm not sure what I might do.
So James finally leaves that apartment building of horrors behind him. But just when he thinks he's gotten some distance, who does he run into again? That creepy girl from before. Except this time she's just casually humming to herself while leaning against a graffiti-covered wall. James has had enough of her weird antics at this point, so he confronts her in frustration, demanding some answers. And that's when she drops a bombshell. She claims to know Mary and that James never really loved her anyway. Talk about a gut punch. But before James can interrogate her further, the little girl pulls a Houdini and jumps off the other side of the wall, disappearing into the fog. James is kind of left standing there, his mind probably racing with a million questions. Who is this kid? How does she know Mary? What does she mean by that cold remark about never loving his wife?
You! It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who stepped on my hand.
I don't know. Maybe I did.
What's a little girl like you doing here anyway?
Huh? Are you blind or something?
What's that letter?
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
Wait! How do you know Mary's name?
Finally, James makes it to Rosewater Park, one of the potential special places Mary's letter could have been referring to. But get this, he runs into a woman named Maria, who's particularly a dead ringer for his late wife Mary. Same face, same voice, everything except Maria is rocking a much more revealing sexy outfit and has this cocky arrogant attitude that his wife never had. As James is trying to wrap his head around Maria's uncanny resemblance to Mary, she starts dropping hints that she knows things only he and his wife would know. Plus, she's straight up flirting and coming on to James in a very sensual way. Definitely not how the reserved Mary would behave. Despite the strangeness of it all, James lets Maria tag along as they set their sights on the next potential special place, the Lakeview Hotel where he and Mary used to stay. On the way, they stop at Pete's Bolorama, where James runs into our old pal Eddie again. The creepy little girl Laura also makes another appearance, but she books it as soon as she sees James. It's Eddie who finally lets James in on Laura's name. Then, in a moment of uncharacteristic concern, the brash Maria tells James that she spotted Laura and thinks they should try to track her down for her own safety or something.
Did a little girl run out of here?
Yeah, she was too fast for me. Aren't you gonna go after her?
So James and Maria follow Laura's trail to the seedy place called Heaven's Night. From there, they see the girl enter the abandoned Brookhaven Hospital. So of course they have to investigate, as if they're exploring the decrepit maze-like hospital halls. Maria starts feeling under the weather. She has to rest up in one of the rooms while James presses on to try to find Laura. He finally tracks her down in another part of the hospital, but Laura drops another bombshell. She claims to have known Mary for the past year. That directly contradicts James' core belief that his wife has been dead for 3 years. Understandably, James is pissed. He lashes out at Laura for her blatant lie. But in a twisted turn of events, the little girl locks James in a room filled with these grotesque deformed monster figures hanging from the cages from the ceiling. She says she's going to look for a letter from his wife, leaving him trapped in his nightmarish cage room.
Laura?
Huh? You know my name?
Eddie told me.
That big fat blabbermouth.
How do you know about Mary?
What's the big deal?
Why can't you just tell me?
You gonna yell at me if I don't?
No, I won't.
I was friends with Mary. We met at the hospital. It was last year.
You liar! Laura,
Fine, don't believe me.
But last year, Mary was already... I'm sorry, Laura. Anyway, let's go. We can talk about this later. This is no place for a kid. There are all sorts of strange things around here. I can't believe you haven't even gotten a scratch on you.
Why should I? Wait! There's something I gotta get.
Later, okay?
But it's really important.
What is it?
A letter from Mary.
Huh?
I wanna go get it. Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Come on, hurry up.
Is it in there?
Yeah, in the back.
What are you doing, Laura?
It's further back in the desk.
Laura! What are you doing?
Ha ha, I tricked you.
Open the door, Laura.
Why should I? I'm a liar, right? Want me to open it? Huh? Do ya? What's the magic word?
Laura?
Okay, I guess I won't open it. I think I'll just leave you like this.
You snotty little brat! Open up!
Why, you...
Laura?
You hurt me!
When James returns to the hospital room where he left Maria, she's gone without a trace. He finally tracks her down in the basement, but she's in a foul mood, accusing James of abandoning her and not caring if she lived or died. After she calms down a bit, they regroup and keep searching for Laura. But of course, the horrors are never done in this place. Pyramid Head, the iconic metalhead monster, suddenly appears and chases them relentlessly through the basement corridors. In a heart-pounding sequence, James and Maria are trying to make their escape via elevator, but Pyramid Head catches up and brutally slaughters Maria right in front of James' eyes. Dude is left sad, forced to watch this woman who's a spitting image of his late wife get violently killed. After that traumatic experience, James is alone again, mourning the loss of Maria, but refocusing on his original mission, finding Mary and getting to the bottom of his baffling letter.
Open up!
His search leads him to the Silent Hill Historical Society, which turns into this nightmare's exploration of an old prison and a labyrinth where Pyramid Head lurks. And in one of the most mind-bending moments yet, James finds Maria again, alive and locked in a prison cell, acting like nothing happened. She warmly greets him with memories about Mary, claiming they just got separated in the hospital basement. James is shaken but promises to free her, except when he makes it out to the other side of the cell. Maria has been mysteriously murdered once more, her body slumped over.
Maria? Maria? Maria, no! What happened to you? Why? Why? Mary.
As if the mind-bending events of the Historical Society weren't enough, James comes across a newspaper article that sheds some disturbing light on Angela's backstory. Turns out she killed her own father after years of him sexually and physically abusing her, with her mother's complicity in silence. Yikes. No wonder Angela is such a troubled, disturbedful person after all that kind of traumatic upbringing. James ends up saving her from her monstrous manifestation of her father figure, but instead of being grateful, Angela turns hostile. She unloads on James, expressing her deepest distrust of men in general after her experiences, saying that only after one thing. Angela also makes his gut punch an accusation that James was lying, that he didn't want Mary around anymore. Talking about laying James' potential guilt and inner demons out in the open. You can see her words visibly shake him as she storms off, leaving him to wrestle with the implications of what she said.
Are you okay? Angela, relax.
Don't order me around!
I'm not trying to order you.
So what do you want then? Oh, I see. You're trying to be nice to me, right? I know what you're up to. It's always the same. You're only after one thing.
No, that's not true at all.
You don't have to lie. Go ahead and say it. Or you could just force me. Beat me up like You always did. You only care about yourself anyway. You disgusting pig.
Angela.
Don't touch me! You make me sick. You said your wife Mary was dead, right?
Yes. She was ill.
Liar! I know about you. You didn't want her around anymore. You probably found someone else.
That's ridiculous. I never...
Just when you think Silent Hill can't get any more messed up, James comes across Eddie again, near the end of this nightmarish labyrinth. Except Eddie has completely lost his grip on reality at this point. See, Eddie's been bullied and verbally abused his whole life for being overweight and his physical appearance. All that pent-up rage and resentment has finally boiled over into violence. He confesses to killing a football player's dog, then shoots the owner in a twisted act of revenge. It's clear Eddie's mind is shattered beyond repair. He openly states he's willing to kill the next person who laughs or disrespects him. In a moment of insensitivity, James asks if Eddie has gone nuts, which prompts his unhinged man to attack. A vicious fight ensues, ending with James being forced to kill Eddie in self-defense, but he's left shaking to his core, ashamed at having to take a human life, even in that extreme circumstance. You can see the guilt and horror etched on James' face. At this point, the psychological trauma is really piling up for this man. He witnessed his wife's double die. He's been forced to confront dark truths about himself, and now he's got Eddie's blood on his hands. Silent Hill is systematically stripping away James' sense of self, his reality, his sanity.
Eddie? Eddie? I killed a human being. A human being. Mary. Did you really die 3 years ago?
After all the nightmarish ordeals James has been through in Silent Hill, he finally starts questioning the reality of everything that led him here. The letter that supposedly came from Mary, it turns blank, as if it never actually existed in the first place. His sense of what's real and what's a manifestation of guilt is completely shattered at this point, but James presses on, rowing a boat across the lake to Lakeview Hotel, one of his and Mary's old haunts, in his hopes of finding her. At the hotel restaurant, he runs into Laura again, and this time she presents him with a letter she claims to have been looking for, one that confirms she did indeed know Mary over the past year, and that Mary wanted to adopt her. Talk about the gut punch for James. His entire perception of reality is crumbling. Laura's story about knowing his wife lines up with the letter contents, throwing his core belief about Mary's death into question.
Did I scare you?
Yeah, you did.
You're here to find Mary, aren't you, James? Well, have you?
No. Is that why you're here too?
She's here, isn't she? If you know where she is, tell me. I'm tired of walking.
I wish I knew.
But she said it in her letter.
What letter?
Wanna read it? But don't tell Rachel, okay?
Who's Rachel?
She was our nurse. I took it from her locker.
Laura, how old are you?
I turned 8 last week.
So, Mary couldn't have died 3 years ago. Could she really be here? Is this the quiet, beautiful place she was talking about?
Me and Mary talked a lot about Silent Hill. She even showed me all her pictures. She really wanted to come back. That's why I'm here. Maybe you'll get it if you see the other letter. The one Mary... Huh? I must have dropped it.
Laura!
I gotta find it.
Laura!
The revelations don't stop there. James finds a videotape from 3 years ago that seems to show the unthinkable. Him smothering his terminally ill wife Mary with a pillow while she was still alive. You can see James's world completely shatter in this moment because he's forced to confront the truth he's been burying, that he took his own wife's life, possibly out of a twisted desire to end her suffering. The guilt and trauma he's been running from have finally caught up to him in a horrifying fashion. For a few agonizing moments, James just sits there in silence, the weight of his actions crushing down on him. When Laura finds him, he makes a choice to finally confess his unforgivable sin to her. Understandably, she reacts with rage, screaming that she hates him before storming off. And in one final mind-bending twist, the radio James has been using to track down the town's monsters crackles with the voice of Mary herself, asking him to find her as if she's still out there somewhere.
Are you taping again? Come on. I don't know why, but I just love it here. It's so peaceful. You know what I heard? This whole area used to be a sacred place. I think I can see why. It's too bad we have to leave. Please promise you'll take me again, James.
Mary.
So there you are, James. Did you get the letter? Did you find Mary? If not, let's get going already, okay?
Laura. Mary's gone. She's dead.
Liar, that's a lie!
No, that's not true.
She She died because she was sick?
No, I killed her.
You killer! Why'd you do it? I hate you! I want her back! Give her back to me! I knew it! You didn't care about her! I hate you, James! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! She was always waiting for you. Why? Why?
I'm sorry. The Mary you know isn't here. Laura, I'm sorry. That voice!
After the earth-shattering truth about Mary's fate is revealed to him, James presses deeper into the decrepit, rotting remains of the Lakeview Hotel. This place that once held warm memories for him and his wife become a burnt-out husk reflecting on his inner torment. As he explores the halls, James comes across Angela again, except this time the disturbed young woman is just standing there, vacantly on a burning staircase. The symbolism couldn't be more blatant. Flanking her are two skinned, bloodstained male corpses stitched together, representing the father and brother who ruined her life. Angela is surrounded by the twisted manifestations of her trauma, existing in a perpetual living hell. When she asked James to return the knife so she could finally end her suffering, you could hear the deep emptiness in her voice, but James, for whatever shred of humanity he has left, refuses to enable her self-deletion. In a chilling final moment, Angela ascends the burning stairs, the flames licking at her body. James mutters that the room is hot as hell, and Angela utters one final heartbreaking line: "For me, it's always like this." A window into the never-ending nightmare that her life has been. She disappears beyond the inferno, presumably taking her own life off-screen in one final escape from the horror she's endured. It's a brutally poetic ending for a character completely shattered by the unimaginable trauma and abuse.
Mama! Mama, I was looking for you. Now you're the only one left. Maybe then I can rest. Mama, why are you running away? You're not my mama. It's you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Angela, no.
Thank you for saving me. But I wish you hadn't. Even Mama said it. I deserved what happened.
No, Angela, that's wrong.
No, don't pity me. I'm not worth it. Or maybe you think you can save me. Will you love me? Take care of me? Heal all my pain? That's what I thought. James, give me back that knife.
No, I won't.
Saving it for yourself?
Me? No, I'd never kill myself. It's hot as hell in here.
You see it too? For me, it's always like this.
Just when you think the psychological torment can't get any more visceral, James enters the lobby of the Lakeview Hotel to find Maria resurrected once again, except this time she's bound and screaming desperately for his help. But before James can make a move, two Pyramid Head monsters brutally descend on the helpless Maria, slaughtering her in graphic fashion right before his eyes. It's like they're mocking him, making him watch this woman, this embodiment of his beloved wife, die over and over as punishment. At this point, the symbolism finally sinks in for James. These Pyramid Head creatures have been manifested as instruments to torment, to punish him for his unforgivable sins against Mary. In that moment, he embraces his self-loathing and guilt, squaring off to fight the duo in a vicious no-holds-barred brawl. James pouring his rage and self-hatred with every swing, every shot. But even when the Pyramid Heads are beaten down, battered and kneeling before him, they don't just die. No. In one final act of symbolic penance, they take their own spear-headed weapons and impale themselves in a ritualistic manner, as if to say, our purpose is complete, we've broken you. The guilt will consume you from the inside. For James, it's the ultimate psychological breaking point, having to watch his wife's manifestation get slaughtered yet again, then being forced to confront his two tormentors head-on in violent combat. It's like being dragged through the depths of his own personal hell, forced to confront his darkest secrets and sins until his mind is left in shattered ruins. After that harrowing symbolic battle with the Pyramid Heads, James is led down a hallway where he suddenly is immersed with a memory from his past, a conversation he had with Mary while she was still alive. You can hear the raw despair and self-loathing in Mary's voice as she refuses the flowers James brought her, screaming that she's too disgusting to deserve them. It's a gut-wrenching glimpse into how her terminal illness ravaged her sense of self-worth and put an immense strain on their relationship. By the end, Mary is pleading with James in anguished tones to be with her, not to abandon her in her darkest moments. It's one final powerful window into the guilt James has been grappling with this entire time. As the memory fades, James enters a vast industrial-looking complex with a tall, imposing staircase at the center. At the top, bathed in almost heavenly light, he finds a woman who appears to be Mary, only for her to grotesquely transform into a horrific, monstrous final boss after growing enraged at his presence. You can't help but see the symbolism. This is James' guilt over Mary's fate manifesting as one last terrible beast to conquer. All the trauma, all the self-loathing, all the doubt over his actions have mutated into his perception of his wife into this unholy abomination. It's a vicious, climactic battle. James pouring his last ounce of spirit to defeat this embodiment of his failings as a husband. Only by conquering this demon, he can finally find peace. When the beast lies defeated, the game draws to a close, leaving James to pick up the shattered pieces of his psyche, or to be ever consumed by the guilt.
Mary?
When will you ever stop making that mistake? Mary's dead. You killed her.
Maria? It's you. But I don't need you anymore.
What? You must be joking. But I can be yours. I'll be here for you forever. And I'll never yell at you or make you feel bad. That's what you wanted. I'm different than Mary. How can you throw me away?
I understand now. It's time to end this nightmare.
No! I won't let you. You deserve to die too, James!
Much like its predecessor, Silent Hill 2 offers multiple endings. However, unlike Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 2 does not have a canonical ending. The game's writer, Hiroyuki Owaku, has never officially confirmed a definitive ending. Instead, the conclusion of the story is left in the hands of the player, with the ending you receive being influenced by your playstyle. The original Silent Hill 2 features 5 possible endings, while the director's cut includes an additional 6 endings. Let's dive into this ending, starting with the Leaf ending. Jane finally reaches the rooftop of the Lakeview Hotel, bathed in that haunting otherworldly light. At first, he thinks the woman standing there is beloved Mary, alive waiting for him, but it's soon revealed to be Maria, the twisted embodiment of his wife. Maria makes one last desperate plea for James to accept her, to let her replace the wife he resented so much in the end. You can hear the bitterness and the vindictiveness in her voice as she lays James' darkest truth bare. See, over the course of this tumultuous journey through Silent Hill, James has been forced to confront how deeply he came to resent Mary, how dealing with her terminal illness, her misplaced anger and suffering took over and consumed his entire life and sense of self. When James rebuffs Maria's attempts to be a new reality, she has no choice but to follow her predetermined path, transforming into a grotesque monster final boss, similar to the deformed creatures from the hospital. It's as if she's saying, if you won't accept me willingly, I'll make you face your truth by force. It's a vicious climactic battle, James pouring out his lingering self-hatred and guilt with every swing, every shot. When the beast lies defeated, James is finally granted one last heart-rending meeting with the real Mary. It's here that he finally lays everything on the table, his admission that yes, he came to resent her, that her suffering consumed him and turned to anger over time. But in a powerful moment, Mary denies that his resentment was the core reason that he took her life. She gives him the letter, one final artifact, and James is able to leave Silent Hill with Laura, hopefully to start piercing his shattered psyche back together. As the song Overdose Delusion plays, you're left with the sense that James has conquered his demons, but at a devastating cost to his soul. He's been broken down to his core about the horrors of Silent Hill, forced to confront his darkest truth as a human being, but there's also a glimmer of hope that he can truly atone and rebuild from the ashes.
Mary?
James.
Forgive me.
I told you that I wanted to die, James. I wanted the pain to end.
That's why I did it, honey. I just couldn't watch you suffer. No. That's not true. You also said you didn't want to die. The truth is, I hated you. I wanted you out of the way. I wanted my life back.
James, if that were true, then why do you look so sad?
Mary?
James. Please. Please do something for me. Go on with your life. In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did. Well, I'm alone there now, in our special place, waiting for you. Waiting for you to come to see me. But you never do. And so I wait, wrapped in my cocoon of pain and loneliness. I know I've done a terrible thing to you. Something you'll never forgive me for. I wish I could change that. But I can't. I feel so pathetic and ugly laying here, waiting for you. Every day I stare up at the cracks in the ceiling, and all I can think about is how unfair it all is. The doctor came today. He told me I could go home for a short stay. It's not that I'm getting better. It's just that this may be my last chance. I think you know what I mean. Even so, I'm glad to be coming home. I've missed you terribly. But I'm afraid, James. I'm afraid you don't really want me to come home. Whenever you come see me, I can tell how hard it is on you. I don't know if you hate me or pity me, or maybe I just disgust you. I'm sorry about that. When I first learned that I was going to die, I just didn't want to accept it. I was so angry all the time, and I struck out at everyone I loved most. Especially you, James. That's why I understand if you do hate me. But I want you to know this, James. I'll always love you. Even though our life together had to end like this, I still wouldn't trade it for the world. We had some wonderful years together. Well, this letter has gone on too long, so I'll say goodbye. I told the nurse to give this to you after I'm gone. That means that as you read this, I'm already dead. I can't tell you to remember me, but I can't bear for you to forget me. These last few years since I became ill, I am so sorry for what I did to you, did to us. You've given me so much, and I haven't been able to return a single thing. That's why I want you to live for yourself now. Do what's best for you, James. James, you made me happy.
Let's explore the hauntingly tragic In Water ending. It's this darker conclusion. James once again finds himself confronted by Maria on the rooftop, her final desperate plea for him to accept her twisted reality, but he remains steadfast in rejecting her, which inevitably leads to Maria transforming into grotesque final boss form again. The vicious battle plays out the same way, James channeling every last ounce of his being into defeating this manifestation of his guilt and resentment. And when the beast finally lies defeated, he's granted one final heart-wrenching reunion with the real Mary. Except this time, there's an even more tragic undercut. James opens himself up completely, admitting the loud resentment that he's been slowly poisoning his soul. How caring for her terminal illness, dealing with her misplaced anger and suffering eventually took over and consumed his entire existence. It's a gut-wrenching moment. You can see Maria's regret and sorrow etched in her face as she acknowledges James' psychological torment. She insists that he suffered enough and hands him the letter, a final artifact to cling to. But then Mary violently coughs and dies once more, slipping away as James desperately holds her hand. According to the novelization, her corpse had actually been in the trunk of his car the entire time, his unresolved grief driving his descent into madness. Overcome with grief and finality, James takes Maria's body and lays it into the passenger seat beside him. He has come to the realization that without the struggle that defined his existence for so long, he has nothing left to live for. So, in one final act, James drives them both off to the road into the depths of Toluca Lake, choosing to drown himself so he can be reunited with his wife in death. As the song Angels Thanatos plays, all we see are the haunting bubbles rising in the surface, James' life extinguished. It's a brutally poetic ending for a man who journeyed through the nightmare depths of his psyche, only to emerge hopelessly shattered by the truths he uncovered by himself. For James, oblivion with Mary was more merciful than the fate of living on with the guilt and resentment eating him away.
Mary?
James.
Forgive me.
I told you that I wanted to die, James. I wanted the pain to end.
That's why I did it, honey. I just couldn't watch you suffer. No. That's not the whole truth. You also said that you didn't want to die. The truth is, part of me hated you for taking away my life.
You killed me, and you're suffering for it. It's enough, James.
Mary?
James!
Now I understand the real reason I came to this town. I wonder, what was I afraid of? Without you, Mary, I've got nothing. Now we can be together.
Now for the Maria ending. If James spends a significant amount of time with Maria throughout his nightmarish journey, protecting her and keeping her by his side, it triggers a very different finale in the hotel rooftop. When he encounters the final boss area, bathed in the otherworldly light, the woman standing there first appears to be his beloved Mary once again. But it's no tender reunion, she immediately identifies herself as the real Mary, her voice dripping with resentment and anger over James killing her. You can feel the bitter accusation, the lack of forgiveness, as Mary rebukes James for his unforgivable act, and then in a final act of cruelty, she transforms into the grotesque final boss monster that James must confront and defeat. It's undoubtedly the most personal, painful battle yet, beating down his manifestation of his dead wife's hatred while being forced to relieve his darkest sin over and over. When the beast finally lies defeated, James is left feeling hollow, empty. He returns to Rosewater Park, staring out over the lake where he and Mary have made so many memories together. But there's no peace, no reunion in this ending. Just the overwhelming thought of guilt. And then Maria unexpectedly emerges once more, raising the question of whether she was ever truly real or just another manifestation of James' psyche. When she inevitably asks him the haunting question, "Did you kill her again?" James' response speaks volumes. He claims it wasn't the real Mary he defeated, just an hallucination or a dark truth in a given form. So James leaves Silent Hill with Maria by his side, the woman who is simultaneously a twisted embodiment of his wife and a complete stranger. But as they depart, Maria starts coughing, hinting she may soon suffer the same terminal fate as Mary. As the song Promise plays, you're left with the sense that James' psychological torment may be never ending, that no matter how much he's forced to confront his demons, he may forever be trapped in a cynical hell, losing Maria over and over just as he lost Mary. It's a profoundly bleak, haunting conclusion, denying James of any true closure or redemption for his sins, just an inescapable specter of his guilt resurrecting itself endlessly in different forms.
You killed Mary again?
That wasn't Mary. Mary's gone. That was just something Maria? Maria?
What, James?
I want you. I want you with me.
Are you sure?
Come on. Let's get out of here.
What about Mary?
It's okay. I have you. You'd better do something about that cough.
Let's explore the rebirth ending. Once again, James finds himself confronting Maria on the haunting rooftop of Lakeview Hotel, but this time he's resolute, immediately declaring that he's finished with her mind games, her twisted embodiment of his wife. Maria desperately tries to change his mind, to reel him back one final time, but James remains steadfast, defiant, rebuffing her pleas. With no other recourse, Maria transforms into another grotesque monstrous form, similar to the deformed creatures from the hospital basement. When the beast finally lies defeated, something profound shifts within him. James takes Mary's corpse, carefully rowing a boat across the waters of Toluca Lake into the ominous Church of the Rebirth on the island. According to the cult's ancient beliefs, he's collected powerful relics throughout his nightmarish journey that may allow him to resurrect his wife. As James solemnly lays Mary's body at the altar, you're left to wonder, is he about to dabble in profane, forbidden arts to undo his forgivable act? To try and resurrect a woman he killed with his own hands, no matter the twisted cost. The ending fades to black before the ritual's outcome is revealed, leaving you to ponder if James found some form of atonement and rebirth or merely descended into further realms of damnation by defying the natural order. The haunting refrain of the reverse will echoes out, hinting that James may have finally found the strength and resolve to reverse his past sins and find redemption, or perhaps it's an omen of something far more unsettling. Either way, it's an ending draped in ominous mystery, holding the promise of rebirth, but also laying bare how far James is willing to go, what lines he may cross to undo this guilt over Mary's fate.
Mary, you look so peaceful. Forgive me for waking you. But without you, I just can't go on. I can't live without you, Mary. This town, Silent Hill, the old gods haven't left this place. And they still grant power to those who venerate them. Power to defy even death. Ah, Mary.
Now for the common relief, the dog ending. Just when you think Silent Hill couldn't get any weirder, James discovers a room in Lakeview Hotel that shatters all remaining sense of reality. Beyond a locked door, he finds a dog, just casually sitting there operating a gigantic cartoony computer console. James can barely believe his eyes, exclaiming in Japanese, "So it's all your work," as if accusing this random pooch of being the mastermind behind all the nightmarish events he's endured. And how does the dog respond? By simply licking James' face, because why not? At this point, all semblance of logic and narrative cohesion just gets thrown out the window in the favor of pure, unabashed silliness. A wacky rapid-fire montage plays, showing the dog controlling various monsters and events from the game. Like a puppet master, we see Pyramid Head doing silly dances, Eddie vomiting into a toilet while the dog works the plunger levers, and Maria doing anime poses, all under the dog's direction. It's a delightfully self-aware moment of levity that completely punctures the oppressive atmosphere of psychological horror that's permeated the entire game up until now, as if developers couldn't just resist throwing one last utterly ridiculous curveball. Lastly, an ending that calls back to the first game, the UFO ending. Just when you think Silent Hill has thoroughly depleted its reserve of sheer mind-bending weirdness, James gets straight up abducted by aliens. It's a sequence so crazy and out of nowhere that it has to be seen to be believed. One minute, James is wandering the haunted halls of Lakeview Hotel, undoubtedly contemplating his shattered psyche. The next, he's being tracked or being up to a gigantic UFO. But here's where things get even weirder. As James is being pulled into the alien craft, who does he spot among the eerie silhouettes but Harry Mason, the protagonist from the very first Silent Hill game. Now that we've covered In My Restless Dreams, let's cover the other Mo in the game, Born from a Wish. Before James ever sets foot in Silent Hill, Maria finds herself waking up alone and scared in Heaven's Night. The thick fog clings as Maria awakens, disoriented in a dingy hotel room in Heaven's Night. Flashes of memory evade her. All she knows is her name. The stale air reeks of rust and something vicious splatter on the walls. A deep dread settles in. This place feels unholy, unnatural. Maria's instincts scream to flee, but the fog is an impenetrable veil. The harsh truth, she's trapped alone in this purgatorial space. Mustering courage, she exits the fog-choked streets of Silent Hill, now a decaying labyrinth. The imposing Baldwin mansion looms ahead, its ordinate architecture scarred. An unseen force pulls her towards a foreboding structure.
When I woke up, I was all alone. Everyone's gone. Is it because of those monsters? What do I do now? Do I fight and live? Or do those monsters get me? I don't have any reason to go on living. But I'm scared to die. I'm so afraid of pain. Should I run away? I want to find somebody. I don't like being alone. But is there anyone left alive?
Inside, she never sees the owner, Ernest Baldwin, but they communicate through locked doors. In a flat, unsettling monotone, Ernest tells Maria that she must find a white liquid to help bring back his dead daughter, Amy. Despite the strangeness and potential impossibility of the task, Maria agrees, feeling compelled to press onward. Ernest's soft and airy voice trails behind her as she begins searching the mansion's depths, urging her not to linger as Amy is waiting.
Is somebody there? Open up! Hello?
Stop it. You're disturbing me.
Thank God. I finally found somebody. Can you open the door?
No.
But why?
Is it really necessary for me to answer all your tedious questions?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I want to be alone. Other people just irritate me.
I just want to see another human face. Do you know what's happening in this town? There's no one here. Just monsters.
Yes, I know. But so what? It has nothing to do with me. No one here means there's no one to disturb me.
You want to be alone in this insane asylum?
Yes, exactly. But how can you say that it's this town that's insane? Perhaps it's we who are insane. Both of us, hopelessly insane. Are you satisfied? Would you leave me alone?
My name is Maria. What's your name?
Ernest.
Hemingway?
Baldwin.
Ernest? I'll be back.
After receiving the white liquid for Ernest, she reveals information about a man named James Sutherland. Ernest warns Maria that James is a bad man looking for the you that isn't you. This stirs memories in Maria. She recalls James wasn't good to his ill wife and that he killed her, but also senses an underlying kindness. When Maria opens the door to the room Ernest's voice came from, it's empty, implying he was a ghost. Disappointed, Maria leaves the Baldwin mansion and briefly contemplates self-deletion, holding her revolver to her head before tossing it away, deciding to follow her fate. Maria heads to Rosewater Park hoping James will accept her and provide answers about her fragmented identity. She feels compelled to pursue this thread, even if it means losing herself completely.
Thank you, Maria. That's the only item I couldn't get myself. By the time I found out about it, I could no longer leave this house. So long.
Yes, but will...
Maria, the gods are here. You know it too. You were born in this town.
I'm not sure God is the right word.
Do you believe in fate?
Not really.
That's fine then.
Ernest, can I open this?
This is a dead end. There's nothing beyond here.
I know. So, what if I had said I believed in fate?
That James. He's a bad man.
James. Yes. I know.
He's looking for the you that isn't you.
Because he's kind? Do you know something?
Yes. Maria, you're...
Anyway, that's just what you think. You don't really know anything. That's fine.
Okay.
James.
Mary? No, you're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend? My name is Maria.
So I figure I switch things up with this analysis and combine my character analysis with my overall narrative analysis due to them actually going hand in hand. But before we dive into that, let's talk about the setting of the Otherworld in Silent Hill 2. It's a pretty fascinating aspect of the game, don't you think? Now, compared to the first Silent Hill game, we don't see as much dramatic shifts between the Fog World and the Otherworld in this sequel, or at least the transitions aren't as pronounced. From what I can recall, there are only about 3 times when the switch is made really clear. The Brookhaven hospital shift, the return to the Fog World after clearing the labyrinth, and again in the end after James watches the video in the hotel. But here's the thing, the main differences between the two worlds aren't as stark this time around, mainly because even the Fog World already looks pretty darn dilapidated. One interesting point to note is that unlike the first game, where the town seemed to call out to a specific person, in Silent Hill 2, the town appears to be drawing in people dealing with overwhelming guilt in general. It's not just targeting one individual anymore. Speaking of the Otherworld itself, it has a very distinct vibe compared to the first game's metallic, rustic aesthetic. Silent Hill 2's Otherworld is damp and decaying, with locations showing advanced stages of decay. And you know what? That totally fits the melancholy tone of this game. It's a far cry from the terror of the first game, except for the labyrinth level, which in fact is terrifying. It's there we also get a glimpse of what Otherworld looks like for characters other than James. But anyway, let's talk about him. From the moment you meet James, there's just something off about the guy, isn't there? Early on, you catch him doing this bizarre little gesture in front of a mirror, and he always seems to have this awkward, uncomfortable vibe whenever he's conversing with other characters. At first, his strange mannerisms might seem like personality quirks, but as you dive deeper into the story, a much darker reality comes clear. James is smack dab in a full-blown psychotic break. See, the poor guy is drowning in intense grief from his wife's death, made even heavier by the crushing weight of the guilt he carries in the role of this tragedy. The potent combination of sorrow and remorse has wrapped James' perception of reality in a major way, creating a delusional belief that his wife actually died years before she really did. But at the same time, he desperately clings to the contradictory hope that maybe, just maybe, she's still out there somewhere. And like so many others lost in the grips of delusion, James lashes out aggressively whenever someone dares to challenge his disoriented beliefs. The hospital scene with Laura is a prime example. When the young girl innocently mentions meeting James' wife in the previous year, he instantly gets defensive and angrily dismisses her as a liar. His reaction makes sense though, given that based on Laura's age and details from Mary's letter, it's clear Mary only passed away mere days prior, not 3 years ago like James insists. So where does that 3-year timeline even come from in James' mind? The answer lies in the Otherworld recording that reveals Mary was first diagnosed with a terminal illness 3 years earlier. For James, that fateful diagnosis is burned into his psyche as the moment his wife truly died.
Mary's going to die? You must be joking.
Must be joking.
I'm very sorry.
But you're a doctor. It's your job to heal people. How can you just let her die?
Please, calm down. As her doctor, I promise I'll do what I can. But there's still no effective treatment for her condition.
How long does she have?
I'm afraid I'm not sure. 3 years at most. Perhaps 6 months. It's impossible to say with certainty.
The game doesn't exactly let James off easily. It pulls no punches in portraying his unforgivable act of murdering his sick wife, as well as disturbing tendency to pick fights with a literal 8-year-old child. But at the same time, it doesn't write him off as a complete monster either. Twice he tries to talk Angela down off the ledge of self-deletion, and he openly expresses remorse over having to delete Eddie in self-defense. One of the endings, the Leaf Path, is even dedicated to James finally confronting his actions head-on and choosing to move forward with his life. At his core, James is simply an incredibly flawed, tragic human protagonist, and that's exactly what makes him so compelling. Easily one of the most well-written and thought-provoking leads in the entire Silent Hill franchise. His own personal otherworld that we experience throughout the game and that decaying, plant-choked hellscape perfectly reflects his inner state of anguish and mourning. And in an interesting twist from previous games, Silent Hill 2 doesn't really have one clear-cut main antagonist for James to battle. Sure, you could argue that the role falls to Maria or Pyramid Head, but even those are ultimately manifestations conjured by the town itself, just like other twisted monsters. No, the real enemy James has to overcome is himself, his guilt, his delusions, and the darkness dwelling within his own fractured psyche. Now, that's some deep psychological horror that sticks with you long after the credits roll.
I was weak. That's why I needed you. Needed someone to punish me for my sins. But that's all over now. I know the truth. Now it's time to end this.
Next up, let's dive into Mary. Even though we mostly see or hear Mary through flashbacks and a couple of the game's endings, her presence is felt throughout Silent Hill 2. This isn't just through Maria. but in other subtle ways too. Jane carries around a picture of Mary and a letter. There's also a mannequin in the apartment building dressed in Mary's clothes, which James definitely notices. We get glimpses of Mary's personality as we play. When she was alive, she was dressed conservatively and seemed quite shy. She fell in love with Silent Hill during her visit there with James, and you see her enthusiasm for the town's history in the video James finds towards the end of the game. However, her illness worsened. Mary's personality changed. She suffered from severe mood swings and became verbally and emotionally abusive towards James. You could hear this in their conversation in the hotel hallway leading up to the final boss. Mary talks Billy about the hospital making money off of her, yells at James to leave, then tearfully begs him to stay and comfort her. The game doesn't excuse Mary's behavior, but at the same time, it doesn't villainize her either.
Mary?
What do you want, James?
I brought you some flowers.
Flowers? I don't want any damn flowers. Just go home already.
Mary, what are you saying?
Look, I'm disgusting. I don't deserve flowers. Between the disease and the drugs, I look like a monster. Well, what are you looking at? Get the hell out of here! Leave me alone already! I'm no use to anyone. I'll be dead soon anyway. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. It'd be easier if they'd just kill me. But I guess the hospital is making a nice profit off me. They want to keep me alive. Are you still here? I told you to go. Are you deaf? Don't come back. James, wait. Please don't go. Stay with me. Don't leave me alone. I didn't mean what I said. Please, James. Tell me I'll be okay. Tell me I'm not going to die. Help me.
You see how it portrays her as someone gripping with her morality that happens far too soon and is terrified by it. Mary's final conversation with James varies depending on the ending you get. In the Maria ending, Mary is angry with James for killing her and then trying to replace her, transforming into the final boss to fight him. In the Water and Leave endings, she's more forgiving. In the Water ending, James has to relive her death, while in the Leave ending gives him real closure, allowing Mary to finish her conversation with him. Now let's turn our attention to Maria. Maria comes across as Mary's polar opposite in almost every aspect. She dresses proactively, exudes extroversion and vivaciety, yet can be cruel and mocking. It's worth noting that Maria isn't a real person. She's a creation of the town, molded from James' desires, but twisted into something darker. While the game doesn't paint Maria in the best light, most versions include a sub-scenario called Born from a Wish that adds some depth to her character. The scenario begins with Maria in Heaven's Night strip club, contemplating her next move. Ultimately, she decides to confront the monsters rather than stay put. During her journey, she stumbles upon an old mansion and meets the recluse owner, Ernest Baldwin. Through their interaction, she learns about Ernest's tragic loss of his young daughter 10 years prior. Maria's act of kindness in giving him a vial of white chrism, significant in the rebirth ending of the game, reveals a compassionate side of her character. However, Ernest's warning about James, whom Maria seems to know about despite not having met him, adds an eerie twist to their encounter. The scene shifts to Mary walking to Rosewater Park. In a moment of despair, she briefly considers ending her own life, but ultimately discards her gun and presses on. Her redesigned expression suggests a grim acceptance of her fate. What's intriguing is how Mary's essence seems to steep into Maria's character. Maria's proactiveness towards Laura, an apparent stranger, and her knowledge of James' actions hint at a deeper connection between Maria and Mary. The connection becomes even more apparent in Maria's cell in the labyrinth, where she discusses a video of Mary in the hotel, a detail that Maria shouldn't be aware of.
You're alive! Maria, I thought that thing killed you. Are you hurt bad?
Not at all, silly.
Maria? That thing, it stabbed you. There was blood everywhere.
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator, and then...
James, What are you talking about?
Just before! Don't you remember?
James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
All I want from you is an answer.
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real. Don't you want to touch me?
I don't know.
Come and get me. I can't do anything through these bars.
Okay. Stay right there. I'll be there soon.
Alright, let's talk about Laura. Laura's backstory is pretty darn heartbreaking. She was in the same hospital as Mary for a while, and the two bonded like sisters. Mary even said she'd adopt Laura if she could. They chat endlessly about Mary and James' trip to Silent Hill, which Laura imagined as this serene, peaceful place. So, when Laura decides to hitch a ride with Eddie to Silent Hill, she's probably thinking it's going to be all rainbows and sunshine. But Laura is not your typical sweet kid. She's got a bit of an attitude, especially towards James. She thinks he was mean to Mary in her final days. You can tell by the way she stomps his hand and tries to prank him in the hospital. Sure, her prank ends up being deadly, but cut her some slack. She couldn't have known, right? What's really weird though is that Laura seems oblivious to the monsters prowling around. She's genuinely surprised that James is shocked that she's unharmed. And how the heck did she manage to beat him to the hotel? Turns out being a kid means the town doesn't mess with her like it did with James. She's innocent, untainted by the town's horrors. In fact, Laura seems to be the town's way of nudging James towards the truth. Their conversations make James question his own memories and motives. Now, some folks think Laura is another creation of the town, like Maria representing another piece of Mary's soul. But that doesn't quite add up. We learn way more about Laura than we do about Maria. Plus, the game throws Laura arriving in the town with Eddie and interacting with him, while Maria's only got eyes for James. Sure, Angela's story mainly revolves around James too, but we still get to know her. Maria, on the other hand, remains shrouded in mystery. Let's talk about Eddie. Eddie's one angry dude, and he's got plenty of reasons to be. Unfortunately, he channels his anger in some pretty unhealthy ways, mainly by killing everything in sight. Eddie's anger stems from a lifetime of abuse and bullying, mainly about his weight and appearance. He also seems to be neurodivergent, which makes him a target for mockery. One day, Eddie just snaps. He grabs his dad's gun and shoots the local dog. According to psychologists, killing animals is often a red flag for potential serial killers. After that incident, Eddie's rage escalates. He shoots one of his bullies in the knee, not killing him, but definitely maiming him. Realizing the gravity of what he'd done, Eddie freaks out and flees, evidently winding up in Silent Hill. Throughout the game, we get glimpses of Eddie's otherworld. It's filled with corpses, and though Eddie initially denies having anything to do with them, he evidently admits he killed them all.
Killing a person ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head, pow.
You killed him?
But it wasn't my fault. He made me do it.
Calm down, Eddie. Tell me what happened.
That guy, he had it coming. I didn't do anything. He just came after me. Besides, he was making fun of me with his eyes, like that other one.
Just for that, you killed him?
What do you mean, just for that?
Eddie, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you.
Oh yeah? Why not? Till now I always let people walk all over me. Just like that stupid dog. He had it coming too.
Eddie?
I was just joking, James. He was dead when I got here, honest. Anyway, I gotta run.
You're going out there alone?
Yeah.
Eddie?
The town seems to be recreating his tormentors, all laughing at him. Then there's the boss fight room, a big creepy walking freezer with meat hanging on hooks. This might symbolize Eddie's troubled relationship with food, contributing to his weight issues. Eddie is one of the few characters in Silent Hill 2 who meets his end at James' hands. After a heated exchange where James tries to talk some sense into him, Eddie attacks, forcing James to kill him in self-defense. This moment, much like his conversation with Laura, pushes James further to question his own actions and motives.
Eddie? What are you doing?
What does it look like? He always busted my balls. You fat, disgusting piece of shit. You make me sick. Fat ass, you're nothing but a waste of skin. You're so ugly, even your mama don't love you. Well, maybe he was right. Maybe I am nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you're dead. And the corpse can't laugh. From now on, if anyone makes fun of me, I'll kill him. Just like that.
Eddie, have you gone nuts?
I knew it. You too. You're just like him, James.
Hey, I didn't mean anything.
Don't bother. I understand. You've been laughing at me all along, haven't you? Ever since we first met. I'll kill you, James!
Alright, let's talk about the final character, Angela. Be ready because her backstory is easily one of the most disturbing and harrowing tales woven into the game. It's a reason she's on the cover as well. While never outright stated, the game heavily implies that Angela endured a nightmare that is unfortunately too real for many people out there, relentless of SA and physical abuse at the hands of her own father, and later on even her brother too, according to the novelization. Here's the real kicker: her mother not only turned a blind eye, but outright told Angela that she deserved this vile treatment. Can you imagine? This unimaginable trauma eventually drove Angela to snap. She repeatedly stabbed her father with a butcher knife while he slept before fleeing to the cursed town of Silent Hill. What ultimately became of her mother and brother remains unclear, but her initial search for them in a graveyard certainly doesn't bode well. When you first meet Angela, she comes across as anxious, almost scared, constantly apologizing in a way that's sadly common for abuse victims, desperately trying to avoid further torment. Yet, she also frequently lashes out at James with mockery and hostility whenever he tries to help, because deep down, she genuinely believes she's not worth helping at all. As she bluntly tells James in their final talk, there's two specific moments where Angela's personal otherworld gruesomely intersects with James' journey. The first is in the labyrinth when James rescues her from the grotesquely abstract daddy monster, set in a room coated in fleshly substance with churning pistons protruding obscenely from the walls. Yeah, the sickening implications there don't take too much to decipher, unfortunately. The second comes into the Otherworld Hotel. Right before the final Pyramid Head battle, here James finds Angela on a burning staircase, flanked by two hanging figures covered in cloth with what appears to be blood staining their genital areas. In a heartbreaking contrast to Eddie's selfish motives, Angela ultimately chooses to end her own torment by self-deletion. She pleads with James to return the knife she gifted him earlier, which he refuses. She then ascends to the burning staircase, implying she found another way to self-delete. Out of the entire cast, Angela is undoubtedly the most sympathetic and pitiable character, a tragic victim whose agonizing backstory sticks with you long after finishing the game. Her story is a chilling reminder that real-world evils can be far more disturbing than any supernatural monster. Well, that covers the core characters of Silent Hill 2, flaws and all, but it's time to take a deeper look into the monsters because of how important they are at shaping the atmosphere. Each of these creatures is unique and represents different aspects, but they share a few eerie similarities. First, except for the final boss, they all lack facial features or have their faces hidden in some way. Heck, one of them doesn't even have a head. This is coupled with the leap from the PlayStation to PlayStation 2, ramps up the creep factor big time. Let's start with the Creeper. It's probably the only monster in the game that isn't directly tied to one of the characters. It feels like it just carried out from the previous game, which has had its fair share of giant cockroaches according to the Lost Book of Memories. According to the Lost Book of Memories, these critters are mostly a manifestation of the town itself. Next up is the Lying Figure. This is the first freaky thing you encounter in the game. Picture this, a hairless, faceless humanoid wrapped up in his own skin like it's wearing a straitjacket. These creepy crawlies shuffle towards James, sometimes puking acid on him, other time skittering around making those awful screeching noises. Now, what do these gross things symbolize? Well, it's a double meaning. First off, they're kind of like a visual representation of Mary in the late stages of her illness, feeling ugly and monstrous. She even tells James she looks like a monster in one of their final chats. But it's not just about Mary, they also represent James's agony and helplessness as he watched his wife deteriorate. He couldn't do a darn thing to help her, and these monsters, with their hands tied behind their backs, kinda drive that point home. Now, let's cover the mannequin. Imagine two pairs of women's legs stitched together at the waist, with the top half missing feet. Isn't that creepy? These things stay still until James gets close. Then they come to life and whack him with one of those top legs. It's part of a trend you might notice. A bunch of these monsters in this game have feminine or overtly sexual characteristics. Why? Well, it all ties to James' sexual frustrations. See, when your wife is terminally ill, romance usually takes a backseat, and James doesn't seem like the type to play around. So all that tension builds up over 3 long years. And remember those creepy mannequins? Pyramid has got a thing for abusing them in his own apartment complex. It's like an extension of James' pent-up frustrations played out in the twisted world of Silent Hill. Next up is one of the most iconic monsters. Not the most iconic, one of the iconic, the nurses. In the first game they were called puppets, but in Silent Hill 2 they are dubbed bubblehead nurses because, well, their faces are hidden behind those weird grouts. Think of them as an upgraded version of the nurses from before. Instead of scalpels, they're armed with pipes ready to bash James' brains out. And let's not forget about their wardrobe. These ladies are dressed to kill with low-cut blouses and miniskirts that leave little to the imagination. Now, what's with the symbolism? These monsters seem like a mashup of flying figures and the mannequins. They represent James' fears about Mary's illness and his own sexual frustrations all bundled up into one spine-chilling nightmare. Now, the next monster is seen spiraling in the game, the Mandarin. This monster pops up in 3 places: a spot in the town's road, the labyrinth, and the Otherworld Hotel. Picture this, a vaguely human shape, but with these massive club-like arms and weird lip-like openings instead of hands. They hang from grates, and if James gets too close, they'll whip him with tentacles. Now, what's the deal with the symbolism? The Book of Lost Memories says they represent feelings of overwhelming and incomprehensible anguish. Makes sense considering the nightmare James is living through. I'd also throw in that they might symbolize James' deep-seated resentment towards Mary, especially since she became verbally and emotionally abusive towards the end. Now, Silent Hill 2 was responsible for making the most impactful character in horror game history, Pyramid Head. I mean, he's practically the series' mascot at this point. You can see him everywhere outside of Silent Hill 2, which bugs me a bit, to be honest. I feel like it kind of waters down his significance. So what does he look like? Picture a big dude wearing this creepy stained apron and this seriously uncomfortable triangular helmet. And get this, the fleshy stuff at the base of the helmet looks like it's a part of him. It's like it's fused to his head. It's gotta be super awkward too. Like, he has to use his hand to adjust his head in that helmet, especially when he's hunting James in the apartment building. And let's not forget that weapon he starts off with, the massive knife, then switches to a spear later on. Now, what's with the symbolism? Sure, there's some sexual imagery with him in the apartment building, but that kind of fades away. Instead, Pyramid Head symbolizes James' guilt over Mary's death and his need to punish himself. That's why he keeps offing Maria 3 times in the game. It's like he's trying to make James remember what he did, but also a grim reminder of the deed itself. And get this, towards the end, we see 2 Pyramid Heads teaming up as a second to last boss. Why? Because James has murdered another person, Eddie. Pyramid Head really serves as James' judge, jury, and executioner.
Leave her alone! Leave us both the hell alone!
The next monster has a funny name, but please stay mature. Flesh Lips. These guys are one of the humanoid nightmares you stumble upon in a hospital. Picture this: grotesque, mouse-formed figures hanging from the ceiling, trapped in a cage-like frame with a creepy mouth-like hole dangling between their feet. And their attack, they slowly shuffle towards James, trying to choke him with those freaky feet. Now, what's with the symbolism? According to the Book of Memories, they're dubbed Lustful Lips. They represent James and Mary together getting cozy in bed. Yep, more James horniness coming to haunt him. Now let's talk about Angela's main monster, Abstract Daddy. Picture a bedsheet covering 2 frames, one big, one small, and you come across it in Angela's part of the labyrinth. So it's pretty clear this monster is tied to her issue more than James. The monster is a chilling representation of the SA Angela endured from her father. You can see in the way the larger figure seems to be restraining the smaller one, bringing up some seriously disturbing grape imagery. And here's the kicker: it's the only boss monster that later shows up as a regular enemy, albeit weaker in the hotel. Seems like Angela's other world is sleeping into James, especially since the hotel is where he last runs into her. Now for the final monster of the game, and perhaps the most poignant, Mary. She's the game's ultimate showdown, appearing as either Mary or Maria in the game's clothes. Picture this: a feminine figure draped in long gray dress, her skin discolored, hanging upside down in a cage, her arms spread out like she's on a crucifix, and she bears Mary's face, the only monster in the game with a visible face. And her attack, she sends out clouds of moss and tries to strangle him with a long tentacle-like appendage. This version of Mary symbolizes James' mixed emotions towards his wife in her final days. It's kind of symbolic that she tries to suffocate him. It's almost like how he tried to off his wife instead. Despite turning abusive and lashing out at him, he still loved her. Yet he admits that part of him started to resent her. It's this complex love-hate dynamic that fuels the guilt that he carries over her death. Okay, now that I covered the characters and monsters, this next portion will be a lot smoother to understand. In my analysis of Silent Hill 2, I found inspirations from a lot of sources, but there are primarily 2 sources that truly stand out. The first is a novel by Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, and the other is David Lynch's 1997 film Lost Highway. Now, there are surplus of inspirations of this game, but these 2 stand out the most. First, if you're not familiar, let me explain the story of Crime and Punishment. Here's a summary of the key events in the novel. The novel centers around Rodin Raskolnikov, an impoverished former student in St. Petersburg who convinces a theory that he is an extraordinary man not bound by moral laws. To test his theory, he plans and commits the murders of an unscrupulous pawnbroker named Aliana Ivanova. After some weaving, Raskolnikov carries out the murder, Aliana, but also her innocent sister, Elizaveta, when she unexpectedly returns home. He's able to escape the scene of the crime without being identified. In the aftermath, Raskolnikov becomes delusional with guilt, paranoia, and recurring feverish illness. The police investigating the murders, particularly the investigator Pomfrey Petrovich, grows increasingly suspicious of Raskolnikov's strange behavior. Raskolnikov's former friend, Razumikin, tries to care for him during his illness. Raskolnikov's mother and sister arrive in St. Petersburg unaware of his crime. Raskolnikov is drawn to Sonia, a meek young woman driven to prostitution for her family. He confesses his crime to her and she urges him to confess and accept his suffering. After a psychological cat and mouse game with the investigator, Raskolnikov comes to view his crime as a repugnant and confesses to the story. He is sentenced to prison in Siberia, where he finds a redemption through his relationship with Sonia. The story explores philosophical and psychological themes of guilt, redemption, and whether the moral rules can be disregarded by those who consider themselves extraordinary. It provides a deep character study of Raskolnikov's mental anguish and the moral conflict following his transgression. Now that we know a summary of the story, you can see the inspiration flowing through the story. Both James and Raskolnikov committed murder, though for different reasons. Raskolnikov killed an unscrupulous pawnbroker to test his philosophical theory that he was an extraordinary man above moral laws. James Sunderland killed his terminally ill wife Mary out of mercy and guilt, though the truth is obscured in the game. After the murders, both men suffer from immense guilt, delusions, hallucinations, and mental anguish as a form of subconscious punishment. Raskolnikov experiences fever, paranoia, and visions, while James is tormented by the nightmarish town of Silent Hill manifesting his repressed guilt. Their names have symbolic meanings related to being divided or torn apart psychologically. Raskolnikov comes from the Russian word raskolnik, meaning schism or divide, while Sunderland contains sunder, meaning to divide or separate, reflecting on their fractured psyches after their crimes. Both men eventually confess to their crimes and accept suffering as a path of redemption. Raskolnikov confesses at Sonya's urging, while James can choose to accept his punishment in certain endings of Silent Hill 2. So while the specifics of their crimes differ, Raskolnikov and James are linked as literally protagonists grappling with the immense psychological toll of murder, their minds essentially splitting apart from the guilt until they can find a way to redemption through their confession and atonement. Now for the other inspirational piece of this game, a movie that feels like Silent Hill 2 took a big portion out of the story. In 1997, director David Lynch made a psychological movie called Lost Highway. Now, it's no secret that Teen Silent was really inspired by David Lynch, and this game proves it. This movie really explores themes of guilt, denial, and male sexual anxiety. Those are some of the themes present in Silent Hill 2. Although, if we look at the inspiration of the inspiration, we can find another theme that truly encapsulates Silent Hill 2. In 1994, a tragic moment occurred, the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. This tragic event would lead to a division in the world, as O.J. Simpson was on trial for murder. During this time, David Lynch watched his trial closely and wondered if O.J. did these deeds. How could he still smile? How could he continue like nothing happened? Questions started to arise. What was going on in his head? What psychologically speculated was he was going through psychogenic fugue. To explain, psychogenic fugue is a rare psychiatric phenomenon where individuals experience reversible amnesia for their identity, often involving unexpected wandering or travel, and sometimes the establishment of a new identity. Keep this in mind as we explore Lost Highway in Silent Hill 2, but first, let's summarize Lost Highway. The film opens up with Fred Madison, a saxophonist in Los Angeles who was unable to perform sexually with his wife Renee, played by Patricia Arquette. This emasculates and frustrates Fred deeply, feeling his paranoia that Renee is being unfaithful. They begin receiving disturbing videotapes that seem to be recordings from inside their home. One tape appears to depict Fred murdering Renee, though he has no memory of this. Fred is convicted of Renee's murder and sent to prison. While on death row, Fred's identity inexplicably transforms into a younger, more viral mechanic named Pete Dayton, as Pete is able to attract the alluring Alice, who is also played by Patricia Arquette, the girlfriend of a powerful gangster, Mr. Eddie. Pete's storyline descends into a noirish underworld of crime, betrayal, and pornography with Alice, who essentially is an idealized version of Renee that Pete's psyche has created. But reality begins erosion when Pete's betrayed by Alice and the mystery man appears connected to Fred's world. In this surreal final act, Pete transforms back into Fred, who kills Mr. Eddie with the mystery man's help. Fred returns home to find Renee alive with Mr. Eddie, suggesting that the events was all in his guilty psyche. The film ends with Fred fleeing down the Lost Highway, as the narrative loops his fractured mind unable to escape his crime. Through this narrative, Lost Highway explores male sexual anxiety, fragmented identity, voyeurism, and the haunting subconscious effects of guilt and denial, with Fred's impotence and paranoia about Renee's infidelity catalyzing his dissociative psychogenic fugue into the idealized Pete/Alice personas. Lost Highway and Silent Hill 2 share several striking similarities that relate to the concept of psychogenic fugue. Both feature protagonists Fred Mason and James Sunderland, who have murdered their wives Renee and Mary, though the details initially obscured through delusions and altered memories. After the murders, Fred and James experience dissociative symptoms like paranoia, hallucinations, and fragmented identities, repressing their fractured psyches and subconscious guilt. Fred in Lost Highway literally undergoes a psychogenic fugue, transforming into the idealized Pete Dayton persona to escape the trauma of killing Renee. This mirrors how James is psychologically disassociated the truth that he killed Mary just days ago, instead believing she died years earlier of illness. The characters Alice in Lost Highway and Maria in Silent Hill 2 symbolically represent the wives of Renee and Mary, but in a sexualized fantasy forms, created by Fred and James's subconscious desires. When you see how Alice seduces Pete in Lost Highway, it shows Fred's want for a true connection with his wife. Much like Fred, James' creation of Maria explores the same theme. Both women's existence reflects on the protagonist's inability to accept their wives' deaths. The mystery man in Lost Highway is an ominous supernatural figure, representing Fred's repressed guilt, similar to how Pyramid Head symbolizes James's guilt in Silent Hill 2. Out of the many monsters in Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head feels out of place at times, but in need of the story. At the same time, every scene the mystery man is in, he too feels out of place, especially since no one around notices him. The recurring motif of videotapes in Lost Highway mirrors the symbolic videotape James finds in the historical society, both representing horrific recorded evidence of their crimes that their psyches are suppressing. Early in the film, when Fred sees the tape, we are sure that he has possibly killed his wife, but in Silent Hill 2, this revelation is not given to us until the end when he watches the tape and the truth is revealed. There was one line in Lost Highway that stood out to me when thinking about Silent Hill 2, when Fred says,
"I like to remember things my own way."
What do you mean by that?
How I remembered them, not necessarily the way they happened.
This directly paralleled James' instant that Mary died years ago of illness rather than accepting his recent murder of her. So in this surreal nonlinear narratives depicting men psychologically unraveling after committing spousal murder, both works utilize elements of psychogenic fugue, dissociative identity, subjective reality distortion, and symbolic representations of guilt and desire to explore the haunting, destabilizing effects of repressed trauma within the subconscious mind. So now you understand why when I had to speak about Silent Hill 2, I had to also cover these two properties. While the specific stories differ, these acclaimed works by Dostoevsky and Lynch utilize similar psychological horror elements of dissociative identity, subjective reality distortion, and symbolic representations of guilt to depict the haunting destabilization of repressed trauma after committing the ultimate transgression. While those are big influences, there are some smaller ones too. James's outfit is clearly identical to the one worn by the lead in Jacob's Ladder. Maria's getup is very similar to the infamous outfit Christina Aguilera rocked at an award show in 1999, though it was never confirmed that if it inspired looked or not. But take a look right here and you tell me. The dev team also snuck in some references with characters' first names. James and Mary are tied to the Whitechapel murders. Several suspects were named James, and Mary Kelly was one of Jack the Ripper's most famous victims. Maria is just the Latin form of Mary, showing the connection between the names and trying to propel the narrative that these two are different interpretations of the same person. The other characters get their names from other sources too. Angela was named after the protagonist of the tech thriller The Net, starring Sandra Bullock. Eddie, originally meant to be more comedic, was named for Eddie Murphy, and Laura takes her name from the subject of a nonfiction book, No Language But a Cry, about a girl recovering from horrific abuse. So those are the major influence of the story and some of the subtle references that made their way in. Now, one thing I couldn't help but think about is how the Silent Hill 2 story serves as an exploration for the 5 stages of grief through the journey of James Sunderland. Each stage is represented in a nuanced and often unsettling manner, reflecting the complexities of the grieving process. First is denial. James's arrival in Silent Hill was driven by his refusal to accept Mary's death, as evident in pursuit of the letter that he claims he received from her. Despite her terminal illness, his denial manifests itself into the form of Maria, a doppelganger of Mary, whom he clings to in an attempt to recreate his past and evade the harsh reality of his wife's passing.
Mary? No, you're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
No, my late wife. I can't believe it. You could be her twin. Your face, your voice, just your hair and clothes are different.
My name is Maria. I don't look like a ghost, do I?
Second is anger. As James delves deeper into the town's dark recess, his repressed anger towards Mary and the circumstances surrounding her illness begins to surface. The manifestations of his anger are often grotesque, such as the disturbing imagery of the hospital and the monstrous figures that haunt him. His encounters with characters like Angela and Eddie, who harbor their own resentments, further amplify this stage of grief. Third is bargaining. The rebirth ending encapsulates the bargaining stage, where James attempts to resurrect Mary's corpse using relics of the old gods of Silent Hill. This desperate act represents the desire to negotiate with forces beyond his control, seeking a way to undo the finality of her death and regain what he has lost. Fourth is depression. James's journey through Silent Hill is a descent into the depths of his psyche, where he confronts the overwhelming sadness of guilt associated with Mary's death. The decaying environments mirror his internal turmoil, and his encounters with characters like Angela, who contemplate self-deletion, reflect the weight of his despair. Lastly is acceptance. The leap ending offers a glimpse of acceptance as James finally comes to terms with Mary's death and his role in it. He rejects Maria's attempts to replace Mary and chooses to move forward with Laura, symbolizing his willingness to let go of the past and embrace a new chapter. The In Water ending takes acceptance to its darkest conclusion, with James choosing to join Mary in death, accepting their separation as permanent. Though with intricate storytelling and haunting imagery, Silent Hill 2 masterfully weaves in the 5 stages of grief into a narrative that resonates with complexities of human emotion. James's journey through this harrowing exploration of loss, guilt, and the struggle to find peace in the face of profound sorrow. Let's talk about the gameplay. In Silent Hill 2, you're on a haunting journey through the eerie town of Silent Hill as James Sunderland, searching for his late wife. The game offers third-person perspective with various camera angles to enhance the chilling atmosphere. Unlike typical games, Silent Hill 2 doesn't clutter the screen with heads-up displays. Instead, you'll pause to check James's health, location, and items. As you explore, James collects maps and documents, essential for navigating the town's maze-like streets and solving puzzles. The focus isn't solely on combat, it's about survival and unraveling the town's mysteries. James relies on his trusty radio to detect lurking creatures by emitting static, alerting him even in the dense fog. When faced with enemies, James can choose to fight or flee, each decision affecting his survival. Combat involves finding melee weapons and firearms scattered throughout the game. The controls offer flexibility, allowing players to choose between tank controls or more modern schemes. New to the series is the ability to block attacks, adding a layer of strategy to combat encounters. Additionally, players must protect Maria, a companion who joins James on the journey. Her safety becomes James' responsibility, adding tension to encounters with monsters. The game's environments are dark and foreboding, with the flashlight serving as your primary source of illumination. The controller vibration adds to the immersion, signaling James' heartbeat, indicating when he's in danger. In Silent Hill 2, some elements from the previous game return, like the ranking system and multiple endings, but unlike its predecessor, the game feels more dynamic, like it's actually alive. With multiple endings, the game adapts your choices and actions. It's not just straightforward plug and play. Instead, it builds the narrative alongside you, taking things into account like your health, who you spend time with, and how you play. Now, the ranking system. In Silent Hill 2, the culmination of your journey is not merely reaching the end of credits. It's about how you fare along the way. Upon completing the game, detailed breakdown of your performance unfolds on the screen, providing insights to your choices, actions, and overall match with the game's challenges. At the forefront of this assessment are your chosen difficulty settings, the action level and the riddle level. These settings, selected at the beginning of your journey, reflect the degree of challenge you sought in combat and puzzle solving respectively. Your proficiency in navigating these challenges influence your overall ranking. The conclusion you reach at the game's end is not predetermined. It's shaped by your decisions and interactions throughout your playthroughs. Silent Hill 2 offers multiple endings, each reflecting different facets of the protagonist's psyche and the consequences of their actions. Your ending, be it tragic or triumphant, serves as a reflection of your journey's narrative arc. Moreover, the game meticulously tracks various aspects of your performance, from the number of times you say your progress to the total duration of your gameplay. Each step taken, every item collected, and every enemy vanquished contributes to a comprehensive evaluation of your progress in the fog-shrouded town of Silent Hill. Central to this evaluation is your combat proficiency, measured by the number of enemies dispatched through firearms and melee combat. Additionally, your ability to navigate the treacherous waters at the boat stage is scrutinized, with your completion time and maximum speed serving as indicators of your skill and efficiency. The pinnacle of this assessment is your final rank, represented by a combination of large and small stars. Each large star symbolizes 1 point, while each smaller star represents a tenth of a point. Attaining a perfect score of 10 out of 10 or 100 out of 100 is the ultimate challenge requiring mastery in every aspect of the game. For those brave enough to embark on this quest for perfection, the rewards are substantial. Achieving a flawless ranking unlocks a coveted green hyper spray, opponent weapon capable of dispatching enemy foes with a single spray. This powerful tool not only simplifies encounters, but also serves as a badge of honor for those who have conquered the trials of Silent Hill 2. In pursuit of a perfect ranking, players must strive for excellence in every category. From combat prowess to puzzle-solving acumen, every facet of their performance is scrutinized and evaluated. It's a testament to the depth and complexity of Silent Hill 2, a game that challenges players to confront their fears and emerge victorious in the face of adversity. Silent Hill 2 initially debuted on the PlayStation 2, captivating audiences in North America on September 25, 2001, followed by releases in Japan on September 27th and Europe on November 23rd. Notably, the European edition featured a bonus second disc offering a captivating making of DVD. This disc provided a treasure trove of content, including trailers and artwork gallery, and a documentary of the game's development process. An extended iteration of the game found its way to the Xbox platform, launching in North America on December 18, 2001, Japan on February 22, 2002, and Europe on October 14th, remarkably. Each region bore distinct subtitles for this version. Saigo no Yuta, translated as Poem in the Last Moment in Japan, Restless Dreams in North America, and Inner Fears in Europe. This enhanced release incorporated the addition of a short bonus scenario titled Born from a Wish, alongside various minor enhancements. Following its success on Xbox, the revised version made its way back to the PlayStation 2, where it was subtitled Director's Cut in Europe. However, the North American release, branded under the Greatest Hits banner, lacked a subtitle. Additionally, Creature Labs spearheaded the port of this edition to Windows, published by Konami on December 2002. Notable features introduced in the PC version included a convenience of quick save functionality and the inclusion of trailers of Silent Hill 3. In a testament to the enduring legacy of Silent Hill 2, a mod known as the Enhanced Edition was unleashed upon the PC in 2018. This mod brought a slew of enhancements, including higher resolution, smoother frame rates up to 60 frames per second, widescreen support, and comprehensive audio and bug fixes. In all honesty, the majority of the ports of Silent Hill 2 were exceptional. Although when you take the good, you gotta take the bad. The Silent Hill HD Collection. This compilation, comprising of high-definition remastered versions of Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3, underwent over 2 years of development, promising features such as 720 resolution and a 16:9 aspect ratio, a frame rate of 30 frames per second, Xbox Live achievements, also PlayStation Network trophies. The collection seemed poised for success. However, its journey to release was marred by controversy and technical challenges. A critical issue arose from the absence of the preserved original source code for Silent Hill 2 and 3. Instead, the development team at Hygiene Studios had to grapple with incomplete code provided by Konami, which did not match the code from the published games. This forced the team to navigate technical hurdles while contending with unresolved issues from the original development. Additionally, many new voice actors were enlisted to re-record dialogue for both games, directed by Mary Elizabeth Glenn, a familiar presence in the Silent Hill series. The decision to retain the original animations necessitated careful desynchronization of vocal performances with lip motions from previous iterations. Notably, Guy Chichi, the original voice and motion capture artist for Jane Sunderland in Silent Hill 2, declined to allow Konami to reuse his voice work in the remaster due to disputes over residuals. This led to Troy Baker assuming the role of Jane Sunderland, sparking a further debate over the quality of the new voice acting. Upon release, the Silent Hill HD Collection garnered mixed or average reviews on both consoles according to the rating aggregator Metacritic. Critics expressed disappointment over the misleading title of the collection, as it featured only 2 games from the franchise. Opinions on the new voice acting vary, with some praising it as an improvement of the originals while others found it less convincing. Issues with audio syncing and outdated subtitles were noted, along with criticism of the absence of bonus material. In my honest opinion, as of now, the original and director's cut versions of Silent Hill 2 remain the preferred way to experience the game. However, with the impending release of Silent Hill 2 Remake in 2024, I wonder if this sentiment will stand the test of time. Silent Hill 2 enjoyed immense commercial success upon its release, selling over 1 million copies in North America, Japan, and Europe within the first month. Notably, North America accounted for the highest sales figures. Metacritic, a rating aggregator site, reflected the game's acclaim with generally favorable reviews, earning it an average score of 89 out of 100 for the PS2 version and 84 out of 100 for the Xbox version. However, the PC port received more varied responses, garnering a Metascore of 70 out of 100. Critics hailed Silent Hill 2 as a landmark title, both at its release and in retrospect. Jeff Lundgren of Next Generation awarded the PlayStation 2 version 4 stars out of 5, lauding its ability to deliver spine-chilling thrills to those brave enough to embark on this journey. Andy Greenwald of Spine Magazine commended the game for its terrifying yet restrained atmosphere. John Thompson of AllGame acknowledged the sequel's departure from distant horror of its predecessor while delivering a compelling and worthy follow-up experience. IGN's Doug Perry praised the game for its depth and cleverness and its commitment to pushing the boundaries of the survival horror genre. The game's graphics and atmosphere received widespread acclaim, particularly for the smooth transition between computer-generated and in-game cutscenes, as well as the palpable sense of claustrophobia evoked by the iconic fog. However, some reviewers expressed concerns over the grainy image effects and the obscuring effect of the dense fog on environmental details. Character animation were generally praised for their realism, although criticisms were leveled at instances where animations appeared stilted or marionette-like. Voice acting, while subject to mixed responses, was generally regarded as an improvement over the original, though some felt it was hindered by certain aspects of the script. Monster designs were appreciated, but criticism were raised regarding the abundance of ammunition and the ease at which enemies could be avoided. Reactions to the Xbox port were largely positive, with reviewers noting a few differences compared to the PlayStation 2 version, aside from the inclusion of the Born from a Wish side scenario. However, opinions of this additional content were divided, with some considering it a commendable extra while others found it lacking in substance. The PC port received more mixed reactions, with some praising it as a faithful translation of the original game, while others criticized various technical issues and shortcomings. Silent Hill 2 has since cemented its status as one of the greatest horror games and video games of all time. It has consistently ranked highly in various lists of the best video games ever made, earning a praise for its compelling narrative, atmospheric world building, and psychological depth. The impending release of Silent Hill 2 Remake in 2024 has sparked anticipation among fans, with exceptions running high for a faithful reimagining of this beloved classic. Look, I'm no amateur when it comes to Silent Hill. This wasn't my first rodeo with the game, but this playthrough was different because I approached it more as a spectator. Making this video allowed me to explore something that stuck with me from childhood, and looking at the game from a retrospective angle, seeing how it was created and what influenced it, made me enjoy it even more. This game is the reason I read Crime and Punishment and watched Lost Highway for the first time. But beyond just introducing me to other great works, how did it make me feel? Like most games in the series, it's just sad. The way this game portrays sadness is unique though. Without spoiling anything, the character endings and gameplay go hand in hand, with James's actions leading to some dangerous consequences. That's what makes this game define Silent Hill as more than just a town with dark secrets. It explores the human psyche. Playing it really drove home the true definition of psychogenic fugue and how dangerous it can be. When I'm making my top 10 horror games list, there's no way Silent Hill 2 isn't on there. Even though it came out in 2001, its legacy runs deep. I touched upon this twice in the video, but I'm really looking forward to the remake. I just hope it gets the same incredible treatment that the Resident Evil 2 remake did in 2019 and makes the experience worth revisiting. But for now, as we wait for the remake, let's hop in the car and explore this quiet little town again. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all our latest uploads. If you have any retrospective requests or suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. This is the Retro Phantom, signing out.